Hello, everybody. This is Gabby Cano, now Gabby Panetta, since I got married last year. It's been a while since I did one of these interviews because so many things happened. So I got married and then the whole COVID thing hit. So I'm finally back and with wonderful people that I'm going to be interviewing in the next few months. And one of them is Marianna Martinez, who I had the pleasure of meeting earlier this year at one of the trade shows that I was at. And Marianna is a holistic nutritionist as well as an energy medicine practitioner. And I was ecstatic when I met her because not only is her energy beautiful, but she practices something that I have known about for many, many years. I've always been interested in it. I love getting scanned with this technique. And I just couldn't wait to try it again. Plus, again, I mean, your energy, Marianna, was so wonderful that I said, I have to contact her again. So thank you so much for joining us, Marianna.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit more about what it is that you do in general. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get into the nitty-gritty of the questions, okay?
Yeah. So as Gabby mentioned, I am a holistic nutritionist and energy medicine practitioner. So I kind of combine those two together, and I work with a biofeedback stress assessment. So it's a machine that reads the energy frequencies of the body and suggests what needs the most balancing on physical level, emotions, energy level as well.
Nice. Marianna, the first thing I want to ask you, actually, before we even start, is how did you come across the biofeedback machine? How did you get interested in biofeedback?
Well, when I was in school studying holistic nutrition, I just accidentally heard somebody's doing that, and I went. One of my fellow colleagues was doing that, and I went for a session with her, and then as soon as I saw the machine and experienced it, I was like, okay, one day, I don't know when and how, but this was my intention. I have to have this machine.
Right.
Magical.
Yeah. So I had a very similar experience years ago, you know, and I don't believe that anything happens by coincidence, but I came across a machine here in Canada, and I knew of a man. I didn't actually get scanned at the time, but I knew of a man that had been scanned and his really positive experience with this machine. Then I had the opportunity of getting a scan in Mexico, and I was blown away at how accurate everything that was being said was on the screen. And I thought I had gone to the best psychic ever. Because this machine identified subluxations on certain vertebrae on my body. It identified emotional blockages and issues that I'd had from past trauma. It identified physiological issues with my body that I was aware of, but nobody else in the room was aware of. And I was blown away. So I wanted to know more. I wanted to learn more. And then here in Canada, I came across you and I thought, oh my goodness, finally. So thank you so much, because it's not easy to come across somebody that practices this type of technique or uses this type of machine. So I'm grateful to you for accepting to the interview, because as you know, the group is actually for informing people of all the different techniques that are out there and all the options that people have for complementing whatever treatment they're going through. So the one thing I wanted to ask you is with regards to biofeedback. So biofeedback, from what I've experienced, is a machine that measures your resonance, your vibrational resonance. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit more and not getting too technical, but how does it scan you, or how does it work?
So it's just so it picks up on the energy frequencies of the body, how every organ, every tissue, every cell has their own frequency. So it picks up and compares to how it's, like, what's the perfect state, and then it tells me which one needs the most help, where's the imbalance and stuff like that. That's the general idea.
Right. And I understand too that it goes beyond the physiological processes, because I know for me personally, it picked up on emotional trauma. And I know that it actually also picked up on my energetic field. Now,
That's
I
right.
knew what my energetic field looked like because a friend had recently read my field, and she actually sees the full spectrum of color on people. And
Nice.
and she had told me, it's green. And then the machine came up, and the machine said, your aura is green. And I said, well, how does the aura know what color? I mean, how does this machine know what color my aura is? So I was, again, and I don't know if I'll ever understand it fully, but it blows my mind how accurate it is.
Absolutely.
So what can be done with biofeedback?
Well, it gives me a lot of information. So I get patterns of stress, toxicities, pathogens, allergy sensitivities, blockages, and stuck emotions, as you mentioned. It gives me a picture of aura and chakras as well. So the main idea that it will send back the frequency to the body or to the place of imbalance and kind of help the body to stimulate that self-healing mechanism in the body, help it to so it can has an opportunity to return back to balance.
Okay, so it not just scans for imbalances, but it also helps to balance.
Yes, on an energetic level.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And that's really important, because pretty much every natural or alternative technique does that. It helps to bring the body back to balance, and then the body heals itself.
Exactly. That's the
Okay,
main idea.
yeah, awesome. Okay, so what conditions or symptoms can sort of be identified or dealt with, rebalanced from an imbalanced state?
So things like I work with things like vitamins and mineral deficiencies, sleep issues, fatigue, hormone imbalances, gut health, weight loss, sensitivities, pathogens, ADD, ADHD. The list is endless. I truly believe that whatever imbalance the person has, it usually has a root cause. So that I work like a detective, helping the client to look for that, and more importantly, look for natural solution. So it's not only that information I receive from biofeedback, I implement the rest of like lots of other knowledge to help
Right.
the client.
So I'm sure your nutritional background also has a lot to do with how you interpret the information. And how would you say that the vibrational healing, or our vibration, actually has an effect on our mental emotional state?
Absolutely. Every part of the body, as I mentioned, has normally has own healthy frequency. So when that frequency gets distorted, the machine is able to bring it back to harmonious state, and the whole body has an opportunity to restore balance.
Wow. And I know that there's a lot of other machines and techniques out in the field.
Mhm.
Is there anything that we can use ourselves on a personal level? Because I know these the biofeedback machines are way above most people's purchasing power. But is there anything that we can do on a daily basis to help balance our bodies?
Absolutely. Things like meditations, things like walking in the park or somewhere in the nature,
Okay.
paying attention to beautiful things, whether it's flowers or just appreciating things. As long as you're positive, focusing on positive things, it right away it helps you to bring your frequencies up and you feel great.
Right.
We have many tools that we can use. Plus, eating healthy, it's a
Right.
good way as well.
Right. And that's a huge one for my clients, even, even though I'm not a nutritionist, but when they come to me and they say, I have this going on, or, I'm feeling sad or stressed. And my first question is usually, what's your diet like? And then I suggest you may want to see nutritionist, naturopath, whomever you feel more comfortable with, but please go ahead and see someone, because simple carbohydrates are probably one of the worst things we can do to our body, and especially in terms of stress and mood. So yeah, and I'm sure you see that a lot with your nutrition clients.
Mhm.
um do you use biofeedback with on its own or in combination with other modalities?
Well, when I work with the client, I use all my knowledge and modalities. Because I work with intuitively, I never know how my session is going to look like and what's going to come out of it. So biofeedback assessment is definitely a big part of what I do, but I wouldn't be able to achieve the best results if I didn't have other modalities.
Yeah.
And those are the holistic nutrition and as well energy knowledge, because it all connects together.
Right. And we're all energy. So, so how does biofeedback complement allopathic or conventional treatment?
So how allopathic, okay, so.
Oh, hang on. Maybe that was, never mind, hang on. Let me, I'm gonna pause this for a sec. Oh, no, hang on. I'm having technical difficulties, just a second. Okay, and we are back. Sorry about that. I had a bit of a technical issue. So let me just get back onto the questions here. What symptoms do you usually see in people with unresolved emotional issues, especially women?
Because we are so different, every person is affected differently. I have seen things like anxiety, panic attacks, depression, but on the other hand would be also overweight or hormonal imbalances and sleep issues as well. That's why it's very important to have an individual approach to every client in my practice, because every human being is very unique.
Okay. And then how can biofeedback help someone who is recovering from abuse, trauma, dysfunction, or chronic illness?
As I mentioned earlier, each body has its own healing mechanism. So biofeedback is helping to energetically stimulate it and to allow the body start getting back to harmony. As long as the person is ready to open to start their own healing journey. So you see, I'm not the magician who will make the problem disappear. I'm just there. I'm just supposed to guide them and support them. The client himself is the real magician who can achieve the breakthrough that they're looking for, if he's ready for this transformation.
Yeah, and that's something that's important, and I see it even in my own practice. Is we are not miracle makers. We guide you along, we show you the techniques, we work with you, but at the end of the day, the one that does all the work is the client, and they have to be not just open to receiving the healing, but willing to work towards it, right? It's somebody, not more than one person, but a few people have asked me, Gabby, what can you do for me for this condition, and in terms of energy work? And I tell them, I can do quite a bit, but you have to help me. You have to stop doing what you've been doing all along in order to get yourself sick.
That's right.
And then they say, that's not going to happen. I'm not changing my eating habits, and I'm not exercising. So, and then I say, so why would I spend any time trying to help you if you're not going to stop doing what got you sick in the first place? Right? So it's a two-way thing. And healing's always two-way, and more ways, because it goes beyond us as well.
Absolutely.
So, and sorry, I'm just going to take a look at the next question that I had here for you. How important is it for us to become aware of the power of our own energy and in the healing process?
I believe it's definitely a very important, the most important part. You can spend thousands of dollars and go see the best practitioners in the world, but if a person is not able to accept the fact that they are the writer of their own story and the success depends on them, then they are might not find the answers that they're looking for. I see us practitioners as very important tools that are given to people to guide them through their healing journey. And we give them information, support, guidance, energy, but the actual success of recovery
not very few, but there's a lot of people out there who think that healing is actually in the hands of others, whereas they are the main participant in and creator of their healing journey.
That's right.
Okay, so can you give us an example of a person that came to you who was maybe reluctant to try biofeedback and then tried it and was blown away?
Actually, I worked with someone recently. She had very severe panic attacks, and so she was not able to eat or sleep. She
Wow.
tried a lot of things, but she was not able to get answers and solutions that she was looking for. I was probably on her last one on her list to try, but after working with her intensively for 4 days in a row, this person got back to sleeping and eating and feeling a lot better. But remember, I'm not the magician. This person was so desperate to get well that she embraced all the help that I gave her, and she was able to bring herself back to balance.
Awesome. That's really good. And I was going to say anybody else aside from me, but yeah, I know you've had a lot of successful clients, and I'm like, you know, there's so many techniques out there that when I do try something, and clients know that I would never ever recommend anything that I don't truly believe in, and then I've tried, and so I just biofeedback never stops surprising me, and I love it. Okay, so can you walk us through an initial consultation and a typical session with you so that people know what to expect?
Sure. So the first important thing is to get to know the client. They come and they fill out the form, intake form for me. We talk and discuss their goals and issues, and then we work with the biofeedback and see what the information it can give us, and then we'll look for solutions. They usually give a lot of information, suggestions to help improve their well-being. And if there is a specific goal that we need to work to do a few sessions, then the client can come back a few weeks later or a month later, so we can keep working on something.
Okay, and that was something else, I guess that I hadn't thought of before, but approximately, say for example, I don't know, something simple. Approximately how many sessions would be required to work through with biofeedback? Because I know it works very fast.
Mm-hmm. So with this lady that I mentioned earlier, it took 4 days. It was very intense days. It took 4 days, but everyone is so different.
Yeah.
Every situation is different. It depends also how much the person is willing to put in of their energy and their effort.
Right. And how often would they have to come to see you? Is it once a week, two or three times a week?
Depends how kind of problematic the situation is. For this person, she wanted to sleep and she wanted to be able to eat. So we went every single day. But
Okay.
then usually a person would come every few weeks or a month and
Okay.
just pull off or just continue working on the goal. Depends on the situation.
Okay. And another thing is, you mentioned earlier that you give them tools to work with. So do you give them kind of homework, or like I would give them self-care? You give them things to, yeah. Okay.
If you don't train them and don't teach them, then how can they know, what brought them into imbalance in the first place?
Right. Right. Okay. And who is your ideal client?
Well, my ideal client would be a person who believes that I can help them. This is the most important thing, that to be able to achieve the best results.
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't matter if it's a man, a woman, or a child. It doesn't matter, as long as they have trust in me and they believe that they can be helped.
Right. Yes. And that's important in any therapy, actually. If the client doesn't believe that it's going to help them, then most likely it won't help. Because everything's energy, right? So you either work towards a positive outcome together, or that's going to be part of the blockages. They're not believing and accepting and being open to the energy. Awesome. And can you give us one takeaway to help in our healing journey?
Sure. So my advice, no matter what happens in life, always remember that there is no problem without a reason and without a solution. So the calmer you remain, the faster you will find a way out.
Nice. That's
It's
great.
for those people, sometimes people get really sick and they just get so depressed and they just like, don't know what to do. So just stay calm and it's going to come to you. There is
Right.
always an answer.
Right. Yeah. And everything in life passes. There's absolutely nothing that's remains exactly the same ever. Even if you want to remain the same, you're still going to get old. So you may as well enjoy the journey. And how can people contact you?
You can find me as Marianna Martinez Wellness. You can contact me through website, Facebook, Instagram. I'm everywhere, basically.
Good. Okay.
I'm happy to communicate with people.
Okay. And now I know that I came across your booth at a trade show. When all of this thing with the pandemic is done and over with, will you be participating in any other shows in the future?
Absolutely. My next show was supposed to be the Burlington Spiritual Show Expo. So we're just waiting to see when they will be allowed to run it.
Okay. And even though you're located in the northwestern area of Ontario, you can treat clients anywhere because basically, and that's another question that we haven't talked about, biofeedback works at a distance as well as in person, correct? Oh, lost the internet connection. Hang on one second. There we go. I'm back. My internet was unsteady. Okay. The technical connection continues. Anyway, back to biofeedback works at a distance as well as in person, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
So I just get the picture from the person, get their information like full name, date of birth, and where they were born, and then the system was able to find them. I've been working with people in Europe, South America, all over the world, basically.
Awesome. That's really good to know because a lot of people think that you have to be in person, seeing you, connected to the machine in order for it to work, but it doesn't. It can. Energy is energy. There's no distance or separation of space when it comes to energy. That's
right. One more thing I wanted to mention: if the client has benefits with work, some companies do cover my services. Awesome. So they can just look for nutritional counseling in their package. If it's included, then I can walk through with them to guide them how to do
awesome.
that.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much, Marianna. And again, your contact information is Marianna Martinez Wellness.
That's correct. Yes.
.com or Facebook or Instagram. Correct? Awesome.
That's it. On Facebook and Instagram. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you again, and we will be in touch soon. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gabby.
Bye-bye.
Bye.